Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Business with No Limits podcast, where we talk to local businesses looking to make a big impact, both locally, regionally, nationally, and probably in this case, internationally as well. And I'm delighted to introduce you to Eva Voyavoda, who runs two brands, Visibility Gym and Brand Your Dream, sorry. And she is going to tell us a little bit about her journey into that and what they can do for she does for her clients. And I think it's fascinating offers that she has as we go into this more digital and increasingly video-based world. And it's very relevant for many of our No Limits members. So welcome, Eve.
Pleasure to be here. Hi, Nick. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well and delighted to be able to speak to you about this. Now, I've got to know you a little bit over the last little while, and as fascinating as your business is, your personal journey is almost as fascinating as what you do for your clients. So why don't we start off with just telling us a little bit about your journey, how you came to be offering these services out of London, but to an international base in 2024. But you've had quite a journey. So tell us a little bit about your potted history, both personal and business, because I think it's fascinating.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're excited about the story, which I shared with you before. So I started my journey a long time ago because I'm from artist background, and therefore design and branding was a very natural move for me. So I've been in branding for over 20 years. If I would count the time in academy and everything, I could say more than 30. So I love visual storytelling. That's absolutely natural for me. And I also absolutely obsessed with psychology and eventually with neuroscience and things like that. And so once I discovered branding and marketing, oh, it was a great combination. It was something which I loved, and I already knew how to do design and things like that. So it was perfect combo. So in 2008, I got an offer to become creative director in India. I'm from Ukraine originally, so I did work in different agencies. I did run my own business before 2008. So it was already a good 12 years of experience in different advertising agencies, working with 500 Fortune companies and stuff like that. I did also TV branding. So I had quite a good experience. So when I got to India, obviously, English is my third language, so it was a little bit difficult initially. And I started my first blog. Blog was a big thing, 2009, 2008. I learned from brilliant expert from Australia. And when I learned from him, I was like, that's interesting. I'm watching his videos. It's clear. It's amazing course. It works. He doesn't need to be with me one-to-one. What if I would do the same for my blog? And that would be so much easier because I'm dyslexic, because English is not my first language, so I can just record videos. And here where the journey starts, or began, if you like, because I freaked out and I didn't do any videos for 4 years. So it's a huge difference between wanna do videos and actually doing videos. And I was in that state. I was buying microphones. I told myself that my background is scrappy, that I look terrible, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm all the stories which we tell, bad hair day, every single day, all the things. So I actually told myself all the bad stories. I didn't tell myself any good stories. The equipment and investment which I put in courses and everything was like over the roof.
Yeah.
And no videos in 4 years. That was fascinating.
Yeah.
And by the end, I actually took the course in public speaking, where I created one video which took me 148 takes. I hated every single one of that. Mostly slideshow video when I was talking on camera. First, I did get out and on a white background. And I was like, hi, my name is Eva Voyavoda. I remembered that story, every single word, how to say it. All office make fun of me.
Yeah.
Because I was just, hi, I'm Eva Voyavoda. Like, you will wake up me in the middle of the night. I will tell you this word by word story, which I create. It was nightmare. So after that, obviously, I didn't do some videos for a while. It
Yeah.
didn't help. And then I spot an interesting video challenge where I start creating videos. It was one video a day in a closed group. So I started creating these videos. And it was very interesting because on the day 4, I realized that I just created 4 videos and nothing happened. No tiger jump on me through the camera. I'm still alive. I'm doing videos. Suddenly, after 4 years, I have 4 videos
Okay.
and I'm excited to do it more. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, what's going on? So I created 30 videos during that challenge. I was so excited. I dived into neuroscience, into
Was the challenge
psychology.
to create so many videos in so many days, sort of like a 30-day challenge?
Yeah, it was 30 days challenge, 1 video a day. There was no option of live video by that time. So a little
Right.
bit different timing,
Yeah.
different cut of the
Yeah.
technology. We were recording videos. We uploaded them on YouTube somewhere as enlisted, and then we shared them on
Yeah.
in the closed group on Facebook. So I took the challenge. I started understanding how mind work, all the story about trillion brain, which is now considered outdated for one reason. They say, oh, you can change your behavior. You can change your brain. And from the beginning, I always say, like, you can change your brain, but when you analyze how your brain work, so it's really these 3 parts,
Yeah.
emotional, logical, instinctive. So
Yeah.
that's still relevant. And when I get to the theory, I was like, oh, that's the fear which I experienced. Oh, that was going on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. And because I'm a nerd, I have to confess. So I'm excited about this kind of
Yeah.
discoveries. And I was like, oh my God, that's how it works. That's how it works. Let me take another challenge. And for the next couple of years, anytime this challenge appeared, I did take this challenge. And then I took my own challenge, 90 days videos on my page on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I created tons of videos. For that time, I also did run a female entrepreneurs group, which was 750 members. So
Yeah.
I appeared here and there. I was everywhere. None of that videos were perfect. However, I was ready after some time, I think it was 2019, 2017,
Yeah.
to open Visibility Gym. So first
Okay.
time it ran as free challenge in my group.
Yeah.
And we got amazing response. And I know that sometimes you just need to test your courses and your ideas. And one of the elements was that I created a course and it was on Udemy. And I asked a beta tester to go through that. She
Yeah.
couldn't go through that course, which was helping to build personal brand using
Yeah.
video, because on a module 1, she said, I can't do live videos. And she was so angry. She did give me 3 stars for the free course. I was like, what? and I, and so Visibility Gym was born out of frustration of that wonderful lady. Thank you so much to you. I will not name you, but and amazing people who actually took that first challenge. And people by the end of that first challenge, they were like, we don't want it to stop because we make friends. We're now
Yeah.
so brave, we're confident. People were so excited. They built stronger connections through videos because they saw each other every single day. And we're going to talk about this phenomena.
Yeah.
It's really, really interesting. So
Okay.
that's pretty much the story.
And then what? So this is going back 5 or 6 years ago that Visibility Gym sort of started as a business. Were you at that time working for somebody else, or when did you start on your own?
I got back from India in 2017.
Right.
And I started Brand Your Dream as a side hustle because I work as creative director for the big agency. I did work
Yeah.
with top companies in India. And that was a big part of my fear because I thought that in case I will start doing videos and my clients would see me, they will
Yeah.
think I'm stupid and they will run away. So that
Okay.
was one of the biggest fears. So Then when I get back to Ukraine in 2017, beginning of 2018, I was on my own. I
Right.
did run my own agency, Brand Your Dream, and
Right.
Visibility Gym was more like a course by that time.
Right.
Now I'm moving more towards Visibility Gym because I trademarked it. So
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And so, in terms of what you now do, obviously you had to, because of events in Ukraine, you relocated to London in 2022.
yes,
Is that right?
yes,
And so you're now based out of London, but presumably you still work internationally with various clients.
yes.
And just give me a sort of typical example who your clients might be, or the range of people that might come to you, whether it's for Visibility Gym or for Brand Your Dream.
I mostly work with coaches because I love to work with people who make an impact.
Yeah,
My main focus is coaches, experts, and leaders, people who are seasoned experience in their field,
yeah,
people who run service-based businesses, because for those businesses, video is must have, and it's
yeah,
quite specific video when people have to show up as themselves. Now, for other types of businesses, sometimes you can do just product
yeah,
videos or business videos. So when there is no necessity but desire to do videos like that, Visibility Gym is still useful.
yeah.
But for those businesses, it's not must have. That's why I'm not promoting for them.
So is it true to say that a theme within what you offer is really bringing out the expertise or the expert onto a video platform, because it's not like you could just have a celebrity presenting a product. It's very much how the person communicates their expertise in a subject or training or coaching or whatever it is they're doing. Is that fair?
I look for that more as emotional intelligence,
Yeah,
because when we talk on camera, our clients or our viewers, whether it's on Zoom, whether it's on YouTube,
yeah,
whether it's on your course, doesn't matter really. Our clients build this connection with us. And this connection has scientific background. It's not
yeah,
just a likability. People say, no like trust aspect, which
yeah.
everybody teach, but it's not as simple as this. Because first of all, people have to build that first instinctive idea that you are not scary person, and your body language is incredibly important.
Right,
So if I have that fear and I don't want to show you this fear, my body will betray me, because you often now will recognize, because something will be familiar. I will clench my fist when I talk. I
yeah,
will put my shoulders down.
right,
I will put my lips together, and I will say, buy my product right now. It will be like so not emotionally intelligent. And this body language will betray our main idea to build
yeah,
connections, sell, to share our expertise, because we are not sharing from the perspective of our body. We build this first connection through it. So people first understand if they're afraid of us or not. So once we pass this test, and this is seconds, we're speaking about really moments, we know
right,
instantly if this person is dangerous or not. So once we see this person is open, this person can speak, we can hear the voice can
yeah,
be soothing or motivational or cracky and uncomfortable and something like that. So people will run away from you before you even say something. So first word, first hello is super important. And then emotional intelligence, when we share stories versus speaking over people's head.
yeah.
And then logical aspect, when we have well built message which people not just resonate, but it also logical enough for them to buy from you, because obviously we speak business, not just
Yeah.
videos.
Okay. So can you give me an example of somebody, a business or a person that you might have worked with that came to you with a particular problem? Perhaps they were an expert in the field but couldn't communicate it to as successfully as they should do, particularly on video. And just give me an example of some of the things how you might work with them to sort of solve their problem.
I really love the story of one of my clients. She was in her 60s,
Yeah.
and by the time of the challenge, she was a caregiver, so she was not even invested in the challenge as much
Right.
because she was partially somewhere else. But as usually on the day 4, and this is crucial day for most of the students, she realized that all her fears before the challenge, and she had severe fear of public speaking, so much so she declined scholarship. She didn't want to do specific jobs or specific career choices,
Mm.
anything involved public speaking. And
Okay.
we talk about the person in her 60s. So basically, it's a whole life, it's a long story.
Absolutely.
So on the day 4th of the challenge, she suddenly remembered the story when she was on a stage in the school. And she's originally from Puerto Rico, Spanish speaking girl, come to America. She said chimney instead of chimney. Everybody laughed. She ran away from the stage. Big mistake, no big deal for you and me. However,
Yeah.
for a little girl, it
Yeah.
was a huge trauma. And therefore, that internal fear stopped her from so many opportunities. Once she remembered that, she was so curious. She invested more of herself in the challenge. 2 weeks after, she messaged me and she said, I'm invited for a radio show. Do you think I should go? I'm like, you're going. You 100%. What should I do? How should I coach you? What should I do?
Yeah.
And she had a few questions. Like one of them was, you see, I live in the US for such a long time now. I forgot Spanish a little bit. What if I will forget the word? So now the fear was inversed. And I'm
Yeah.
like, look, you can just talk to the host. And when you forget the word, you say like, oh, this word in English, how about that? Yeah, tell me, come on, come on, come on. And she will tell you the word, and that's her problem. And she will
Yeah.
be happy to help you. And that's no longer a problem. And a part of the interview, she also live streamed that interview. So it was 2 hours of live streaming in her group. And
Yeah.
she's also a coach. She's a nutrition coach. So she
Okay.
helped many, many people because of that. Yeah.
Excellent. And I understand you've obviously got this process that you go through with people on a challenge. Is that
Mhm.
typically the type of training that you do with all your clients, or does it vary?
So Visibility Gym is a course.
Right.
There are it's 14 days, basically
Yeah.
2 weeks. So there are 10 trainings and some
Right.
additional trainings which people can go through.
Yeah.
And there are 10 videos which they have to create live videos in the secret group on Facebook.
Right.
So people communicate during this challenge. They show in specific day. It's in a fixed time. And therefore, I with them in the group. I can suggest them if they
Yeah.
have any questions. And we have several groups of people. Some people need to overcome fear of camera, so then they take Visibility Gym basics.
Yeah.
If they want to go like a more professional look, they no longer have fear of camera. But because of my art background, I have 12 years of academic art education. I teach people professional lighting, camera
Yeah.
angles, and composition so that they can present more professionally this time. So it's
Yeah.
upgrade. And also we are very soon going to launch membership. So people can just join and do Visibility Gym on repeat, which is more interesting because what I discovered during the challenge that, visibility is like a muscle. You can
Yeah.
train it, you can work on it. And if you do it 6 times a year, we have specific themes. We're now testing it in the group. So you can do the same set of exercises, but with different goal every single time. And this way you get very elaborate practice. Plus, membership have a lot more training and live calls and other things.
Okay. Can I ask you? I'm interested in. I understand how you get people who are perhaps not comfortable with video to become comfortable with video. If you have somebody, a client that comes to you that is not clear on their brand or their presence, I think through Brand Your Dream, you can help them with that as well as just becoming more proficient at video, although that's
Yeah.
very important in its own right. So tell me a little bit about the branding side of it.
Yeah. So through 20 years in branding, I discovered that huge corporates and small businesses and individuals have exact same problem. And
Okay.
those are 3 steps which I teach people. Those are find yourself. And I usually call it a candy this method is called candy method, though I actually call it very differently, but it's all about candies. Honestly, it's
Yeah.
much easier to explain. So imagine this. When people speak about branding, it's many times about the beautiful design and some fonts, and that's what people think about brand, right? But brand is an image in customers' mind, which your customers build by themselves based on the other customers' experience, their own experience with your brand, and the information which you share online and offline.
Yeah.
Therefore, the usual experience, very common experience at least, people unwrap this beautiful candy and there is nothing inside.
Yeah.
So that's very frustrating experiences, you know?
Yeah.
So when I talk about find yourself, your message, your essence, understand who you are deeply, your why, understand your story, especially story is crucial for brand, and understand what are your values and how they reflect in your message, in your programs, in your communication. That's when we build true emotional intelligence. And that's basically one-to-one coaching, which I do with my clients.
Yeah.
So this is find yourself. Now, then, once you discover yourself, once you understand your own message and your clients resonate with the story because
Yeah.
they see themselves in your story. So this is crucial for the message building. So once it is all done, we can brand yourself. So brand yourself is a second step. And we wrap this candy in beautiful design, which is recognizable, unforgettable. You know, it's very logical. There are a lot of systems in brand building. So we also build branding as well, like proper design services. And then the third step is show up confidently. Because I remember I was building a brand, not me as a creative director in the agency. We were working with one of the top corporates in India. And they promised us that they're gonna promote this new brand once it is done. Now, it was a very long process, about a year. And after a year, they changed some people here and there in the company, and they changed their mind. They decided not to do the advertising campaign, which had to run and present the new brand. And honestly speaking, I think that they wasted their money because they couldn't establish a brand. One thing is to create the brand, but if you don't tell anybody that you have that beautiful new brand, this beautiful new story, nobody will ever know about this.
Yeah.
So find yourself, brand yourself, and show up confidently. Three crucial components for any brand to exist.
So showing up confidently, that could be an
That
advertising
visibility,
campaign
Jim.
for a big corporate,
Yes.
but it could be for a coach or somebody doing individual consulting. That might be how they appear on video or just more directly.
So
with
visibility,
clients.
Jim covers this part.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Okay. No, that's really interesting. Are there any particular sort of market sectors that you find particularly receptive to this? I know you mentioned you work a lot with coaches and experts, but are there any sort of particular type? You mentioned in the brands, you know, is it perhaps health and beauty? Is it motor vehicles? Are there any particular sectors, or is it pretty much applicable across most?
All this applicable for all the industries. I'll be very honest with you. The thing is that when we build a brand, there are three components to it. And before, I think it was separate options, but nowadays they're mixing, merging into one brand more and more and more. So these three components were always personal brand, product brand, and event brand. And those three could build the actual the brand, as I call it.
Yeah.
So initially, every single brand didn't need to have that personal brand, let's say.
Yeah.
Because when we talk about like Oprah, Harpo, and then crazy amount of products which she has, or Virgin, and tell me, I always keep forgetting the name of the owner of the Virgin.
Richard Branson.
And for me, yes. But for me, so I never remember his name, but still, he himself as a brand, he's known, he building so much information about himself, and he has certain causes which are only his, right? But still he has products and he have a lot of events as well. We can say same about Bezos and other different big personal brands. So this is how it works. Now, for the smaller company, we always need to understand our budget, because many times we end up in a situation because it's built in a wrong way. This is where brand yourself come into picture as a brand strategy. We often come into situation when we stand against huge corporates, huge publishers, without understanding that we're doing it, because this is what in front of our eyes, right? But there are many strategies when we can use less money and get great sales and build very good business, when eventually we will be able to compete with bigger brands. But initially, or in a mid-level journey where you promote your business, you need to understand the market. You need to understand how to build the brand the way it's effective for you, and the way you will invest less and work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. Okay. That's really interesting. Really interesting. And then if you do you have any sort of tips to help people show up on camera that they can be sort of, I know your courses will help, but are there any things if people are sort of got to show up on camera for something where they haven't got time to go through a 14-day course or in the short term, or are there any quick fixes or tips that you could give people?
Of course. So first of all, people need to understand their fears, and the diagnosis is very, very important, because we can use wrong tools for the wrong fears, and that's crucial.
Yeah.
So first of all, there are symptoms for every fears, and I usually classify the fears like instinctive fears, emotional fears, and logical fears.
Yeah.
So the symptoms which you have will say what method do you need to use. For example, if you have, when you have to do any type of public speaking, whether it is recording on camera, whether it is Zoom, whether it is sales call, whether you actually have to go for the stage. So your symptoms are physical and not controllable, such as you can't swallow properly, your hands are sweaty. On my podcast, one famous public speaker told me that she fall from her heels on a stage for the first speaking engagement because she had sweaty feet. So things like that happen. So it's a physical reaction,
Yeah.
basically, and temperature swing. So all of this kind of things, you can recognize this
Yeah.
physical fear reaction. This is basically your body reacting. This is instinctive fear, because you have that fear of the tiger attacking you right now.
Yeah.
So you are in extreme stress situation. Now, what can you do in this situation? You just need to calm yourself down. And the easiest way to do is to breathe very, very slowly through the abdominal breathing, because you will indicate to your body everything is just all right. So this is one of the many tips, but this is a very quick fix.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, and the repetition will help your brain to understand there is no tiger behind that camera. So the more you do videos, the better you become. Now, this is most common suggestion in a market. And I don't recommend repetition in case your fears are emotional.
Okay.
Because as Maxwell Maltz said in his book, Psychocybernetic, he said that if you create that emotional scar tissue, it will be difficult for you to communicate.
Yeah.
So the more repetition you will do, the more fearful you will be, and the more uncomfortable you will feel emotionally, so that your delivery of videos will be very logical or limited, so not emotional. As people say, you will speak over people's head. So if you have emotional fears, and emotional fears usually indicate by the very negative self-conversation related to feelings, you can often hear yourself saying, I don't feel it's right. I feel I'm ugly today, or I feel it's not my good hair day, or I feel it's wrong. So I feel something, right?
Yeah.
So it's more like not feeling good enough situation. You feel sad when you go on camera, you feel emotional swing. This is emotional fear indication, those are symptoms. So what you do in this case, most of the public speakers have very great routines before speaking. Part of this routine often engage with some emotional changes. Listening to crazy, silly music, which will help you to feel suddenly very, very happy. Or let us do one exercise, which I love to do with my with people who invite me for the podcast. We're going to do it today. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, I'm so happy. So I want you to put your hands up.
Yep.
Yeah, and head also up, chin up. And say, I am so sad now.
I am so sad now.
How do you feel?
Uh, like that, not very sad.
Okay. Okay. Now put your shoulders down,
Yeah.
your chin down, like, shrink yourself as much
Yeah.
as you can. Maybe grab yourself, like, and say, I'm so happy. I am so
I am so
happy.
happy. I am really, really happy.
How do you feel?
Yeah, it doesn't really work. No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So basically, once you put your hands up, well, once you put your chin up, you can easily say, I'm so happy. And that will change your mood very, very quickly because your body will change your mind based on your power posture. So this
Yeah.
is one of the ways which can help you super quickly. Now, it shifts your emotional state. It will not last too long if you have a lot of emotional blocks that therapists are for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Different story. I'm not a therapist, but when you need this very quick shift before the speech, it will be very helpful. Dancing, jumping, do some active physical exercise, change the emotions very quickly.
Yeah.
Now, the third level of fears, which is logical fears, and they're sometimes a little bit difficult to overcome because these logical fears, it's like play with Grossmeister in chess. And this
Yeah.
chess is your brain against you,
Yes.
which is always a great combination. And in this case, usually logic beats logic. So, how the symptoms look: imposter syndrome, our favorite. Any type of comparison, why would I even do it if everybody already talking on this topic? I don't think it's smart. I don't think so, and go on with that. So before it was I don't feel it's right, I don't think. So any internal conversation with I don't think, this is pretty much indication of the logical fear. Now, without deep analyzing of these fears, again, therapists can help. However, I will ask you a good question just to give you an example how it works. So, on a level between 1 to 10
Yeah.
on a scale, how much the importance of your clients means to you? The success of your clients means to you.
Well, that's a 10. As a
It's a
coach,
10.
as a 10 if 10's been good, important, yes. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want you to deeply feel in this 10 that importance. Feel your responsibility for that, your connection to this. Now, how dare you to not show up to clients?
I get it. I get it. And I have to admit, in a previous life, I had a market research and sort of analytics background. And sometimes, because you were so big in the data and you knew it so well, and you might have done one presentation on the subject, you think, well, I don't want to tell that again. But there is the assumption that they would recall and retain something they'd heard
Yes.
previously. There's one or two that did, but the majority didn't. And you did have to remind people. That's really the basics of marketing and keeping messages going out there.
Yeah.
But it was something that I've certainly in previous lives I can recognise the struggle of the logic brain, and I'll be honest. One thing that I think happened to me, and I had to be pulled up on it. And again, this is going back in the previous role, was people said they could tell when I was getting bored with the subject, and so I had to maintain my enthusiasm through it. So even if I overcame that thing, is actually you've got to be just as enthusiastic about it as telling it the first time, because for some of the people it's just a question that they are almost hearing it for the first time. You've got to assume that. So no, that's really really powerful. So I can see those three dealing with fears. So just as a theme, I can understand all the practical things you do, the challenges, the video. You can help people with technology if they need it, and branding and all those things. How important is that sort of, I don't know, what's the right word, psychometric, psychoanalysis bit that you've obviously built up, both, I think, sort of formally with some of your own studies, but also instinctively by working with people for a long time. How important is that bit? Because it seems to me quite important from what you've been discussing over the last few minutes.
I think that people often underestimate the level how the brain can stop them, because
Yeah,
brain is the most energy consuming organ in your body. And this is what we always need to understand. It would rather not do something which is not very effective
yeah,
than invest, experiment. So if we want to experiment, and when we are not confident with public speaking or our branding or present ourselves, whatever it is, we need to give some incentive to your body, to your brain to actually do this activity.
yeah,
That's why there's a great idea to, give some great pleasurable experience after you did this public speaking. So these simple things, you train yourself to be in this field. Now, the most important part, public speaking or speaking on camera, it's the only skill which you can't delegate. You have to be present, right? So,
yeah,
and many people told me, by the way, just to get back for a second, I think those two things which you mentioned, like brand fatigue, I saw it a lot with my clients when they
yeah.
just, surrounded with their own brand, their own color, their own brochures and everything like that. And they're like, oh my God, there's so much of this brand color. There's so much of this information. And I'm like, guess what? And except you, nobody else see it.
Yeah.
Go and show up. That's so normal, so typical. So thank you so much for mentioning that, because yes, it is important. And that's also one of the way your brain sabotage you.
Yeah.
They say, look how many things already around you. Why would you do more effort? It's enough. So you need to understand that your brain is not bad. It's not working against you. It just doesn't want to do extra work because you probably didn't give enough energy to your body. And now we go to nutrition. Now we go to routines.
Yeah.
Now we go to many different things, which we're not going to discuss on this podcast,
Yeah.
but basically we need
There
us
is.
energetic.
I understand what you're saying. That we could go on for hours on this, but I think we probably better not. But that's really interesting. Look, as a way of sort of trying to wrap this up, I'm sure there'll be people that'll be stimulated by bits of what you've said, or perhaps the whole thing. What is the best way for somebody to get in contact with you and perhaps engage, whether it's on the course or whether it's branding or just finding out more of what you do? I know you do quite a lot of YouTube videos and things. So just give us the best way to find out more of what you do.
I absolutely want to invite people for my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So if they will follow YouTube channel, it's free. They can watch videos, they can learn something because I always publish something new. And foundational aspects are definitely there. If they want to dive into course, definitely please join Visibility Gym.
Okay.
And that's visibilitygym.com, as simple as this.
Yeah.
You can find me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I'm there as Eva Voyavoda if you really want to connect personally, or you can connect with me via comments on YouTube as well.
Okay.
So whatever works for you.
Okay. You've obviously achieved a lot. You've got this brand up and running with, in some ways, varied circumstances, and have to relocate to London. I'm sure wasn't necessarily part of your plan of 3-4 years ago. What does success look like for you, both personally and as a business, say in 3 to 5 years' time? Where would you like brand your dreams, Visibility Gym? Where would you like that to be in the future? Don't be too specific. Say 3 years out.
I obviously, because I teach people to run plans, I have to have my own plan. It's like, there is no choice. I am not having it. And obviously it changed since I evacuated from Kiev. And I understand how world can be very unstable. But because of that, I focused more on building more international business, which is not
Yeah,
location dependent. This is number one priority for me. I built membership for Visibility Gym. So to make it more as a platform where we can create more courses, not just me, but
yeah,
other experts, because I want it to be a very powerful platform to work on your visibility muscles. So that's my
yeah.
dream. And we will run courses like they will be free when they are going live, and then people will be able to purchase separate small courses during the year. So
Yeah.
that all marketing plan is already there. Fingers crossed, I will have it like at least by the end of this year.
Okay, very good.
I also want to introduce books which will
Okay.
lead these courses. And one of the bigger thing which I want to do is public speaking on stages. So yeah, in my mind, I definitely going to do some TEDx talk. So yeah.
Very good. Well,
The
that's
plans.
good. I have little doubt with what you've achieved so far that you'll be able to achieve whatever you would like. Look, I think as to introduce yourself, that's been a tour de force in terms of both personal background, how you've got there. It's a really interesting subject matter, and I'm sure that people that are watching this will want to find out more through your YouTube videos or visibilitygym.com. In terms of finding out more about you. So, really, from my point of view, it's just a thank you very much for your time, Eve. That's been fascinating few minutes, and I do hope people will get in touch with you. And I would certainly like to keep in touch because there's things you've touched on that I think are very relevant to my coaching business and some of my colleagues as part of the No Limits group as well. So let's keep that in touch. So thank you very much, Eve.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure.